And welcome to Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green, Kentucky, on the famed hill, the bottom of the hill. In fact, we're at EA Diddle Arena, where tonight WKU hosts Louisiana Tech for a Conference USA men's basketball matchup. I'm Tyler Eaton, joined inside Diddle Arena tonight by Craig McCormick. And Craig, this has been an amazing year for Conference USA, the best net for all one-bid leagues in the country. You wouldn't guess it, though, based on how the year has gone, that these two teams were tabbed as the preseason favorites in Conference USA.
Exactly. For Louisiana Tech, Isaiah Crawford, all-conference player, defensive player of the year last year, had a chance to come back, went on the pros. Western has been hurt by injuries.
Louisiana Tech also had the preseason player of the year in Daniel Bacho, but for them offensively, it all runs to the point guard, Sean Newman Jr.
As Sean Newman goes, so does Louisiana Tech. Third in the nation in total assists and assists per game at 8.3. Not the best shooter from the field, great at the foul line, scores about 10 points a clip.
WKU has been injury-riddled, and because of that, they got to find help for Don McHenry, their star offensively, and lately it's come from Tyrone Marshall.
Sure has. Selective jump shooter with good percentage. Scores at about 11.5 points a game in conference play. Been steady rebounder all year for him. A 6.5 leads the team.
This is the second matchup of the season between these two teams. Louisiana Tech won on their home floor 77-67. A lot of that because they won the turnover battle, only turned it over 7 times in that game.
Yeah, and that has not been their MO. They have turned it over a lot more than that this year.
WKU, meanwhile, they've got to find a way tonight to defend without fouling. They let Louisiana Tech take 42 free throws in that game, the most they've taken in 10 years.
That's unbelievable. You know, and Western needs to figure out that defensively.
WKU has struggled on the defensive side of the floor in conference play. Gonna have to right the ship in that department overall here tonight.
No doubt. You know, coach is looking for them to really come out and put the effort out.
And the task gets no easier tonight for WKU, as we've learned just before the game. Already a team without 2 who you would like to be starters in Babacar 5, as well as Julius Thedford. They're down potentially 2 more. No Enoch Kalambe for sure tonight for WKU. Christian Lander not starting for the Hilltoppers. He's dressed, though. We'll see if he plays in this game. We'll see his status as the night goes on, but they're going to have to figure out how to get points tonight.
Yeah, had a sore stiff back the other night, only played 9 minutes.
Louisiana Tech controls first with the star point guard Newman, who throws it off the back on the near side of Cooper, who just wasn't paying attention, and there's a free turnover. We said turnovers were a key.
That's right. There it is right out of the gate. Louisiana Tech player wasn't even looking for the ball to be thrown to him, and that's what led to it.
That is the other half of the Newman experience. He gets you over 8 assists per game, but he averages over 3 turnovers per game on the season. Jalen Jackson has it up top. He's going to operate out of the point for WKU. The transfer that played at North Texas, then Texas A&M Corpus Christi with Steve Luss's Braxton Bayless gets inside and puts WKU on the board.
Well, controlled drive by Braxton Bayless that time. He has been scoring at a better clip the last 5 or 6 games, only scored single digits the other night, but he needs to play under control.
There's Jalen Jackson doing what he does best. Pressure on defense, forcing chaos. Jump ball called. Arrow sends it to the Hilltoppers.
You know, I would think Coach Plona is happy with the first 2 defensive possessions by Western Kentucky because they are active right now.
Jackson averages 1.3 steals per game. He's had 6 steals 2 times this season, and one of those 2 times was the first matchup against Louisiana Tech. He's got it on the right wing, now sends it left side to Bayless. Was at Indian Hills with Hank Plona, then spent 2 years at Niagara. Up top, here comes Wu Marshall for WKU. Good contest down low, and here comes Louisiana Tech the other way. Cooper thinks about the 3 now, fires, missed it off the heel, and it's rebounded by Jackson. Up ahead, Marshall, averaging 10 points per game, has really started to play his best basketball of the season as of late. Quick trigger 3, missed it. That's what he's been doing as of late. He's been really chucking up threes the last few games.
He sure has. You know, nice rebound by Bacho, one of the best rebounders in the country.
Marshall 12 for 30 from outside the last 5 games coming into this one. Bacho isolated, the preseason Conference USA Player of the Year. WKU sends a double. Catch and shoot 3 from the top of the key. That one way off the mark. And Bayless controls for WKU. If you're the Hilltoppers, I think you're content with Louisiana Tech taking contested threes tonight.
Exactly. You know, Green, he hasn't started many games. 3rd start in a row for them, though. He had been coming off the bench this year.
And he can be their most dangerous shooter, 41% from deep. Great come from behind defensive play by Caden Cooper, extremely talented player for Louisiana Tech, 4-star recruit coming out of high school, goes to Oklahoma, played in 15 games for them last year, and he can really do it all, Craig. Tremendous rebounder, actually their leading rebounder on the season at the guard spot.
Exactly, that last play we saw that block. Good help defense by Louisiana Tech.
Cooper averaging 7.5 rebounds per game. That's actually one more than Bacho has after he averaged nearly 10 last year. Hilltoppers, only 3 seconds on the shot clock. Jackson into trouble, just flips it up, doesn't catch the iron, and there a turnover as the clock expires.
Well, and that's not Jackson's strength.
No.
He doesn't shoot the ball all that well. Has a tough time when he does drive. So that just exemplifies kind of a little bit of his game.
Well, that's probably
not to be critical, but
oh, absolutely, and that's probably the biggest loss. Obviously, Lander's a great shooter, but in this current situation, McHenry is probably the only Hilltopper that can consistently create his own shot on the floor right now.
Exactly.
As we get back underway, Amari Abram has it on the left wing. He's averaging 12 points per game. Another turnover, though, as Marshall comes up with a deflection. Tyrone Marshall has it knocked right back away. Great hands by Abram. He's averaging a steal and a half per game. Right side, Newman thought about a triple, now holds on to it. Slow start for both teams. Just 2 points scored nearly 3 minutes in. Down low, Bacho nearly over his head. It's hard to overthrow him. Nice little pocket pass down low, fadeaway jumper. Doesn't get the bounce, and Marshall able to clear the miss from Abram. Here comes Bayless the other way. Another aggressive drive, fakes once and finishes. Braxton Bayless has all 4 for the Hilltoppers.
Once again, under control. We saw him take a shot earlier that got blocked because he got a little bit too fast. He sped it up too much.
Have been in double figures 4 straight games before WKU's loss to Sam Houston. Had just 7 on 13 field goal attempts in that game. Only made 3 of them. Cooper lobbed to Bacho, and I said it's hard to overthrow him, and I think they took that as a challenge.
You know, and I think a lot of this is Louisiana Tech's own bad decisions in their passing ability. They have not looked sharp coming out of the gate. You know, one of the things I was focused on earlier, we didn't focus on Bacho. Heck of a big man for Louisiana Tech. Cada and him early was going to be a nice matchup. We'll see how.
As Jackson gets inside, barely misses the layup, rebounded by Bacho. They're going to rotate those bigs, Cada and ODI, down low against Bacho. And I think within the first 10 or so minutes, you'll figure out which one's going to fare better down there for WKU. Is there another unforced turnover for La Tech?
Wow, that is crazy. But that's been their MO. We talked about it.
They have the second worst turnover margin in the conference.
And they're proving it.
WKU is used to producing turnovers. They're second in the conference in turnover margin, but it's usually because of all the steals. They're third in CUSA in steals. They've had a couple here, but really most of it has been unforced from Louisiana Tech, and because of it, WKU has pitched a shutout through the first 4 minutes. Zach Edlin pulls for 3 from the left side. It's short. Batted around, and Louisiana Tech is able to come up with it. Without Green, the junior guard averaging 9 per game. Left side, Abram into the corner. Bacho wants it down low against ODI. For now, they don't get it to him. Baseline drive. WKU rotates, but a foul picked up against Abram as he tries to alleviate the offensive woes with a drive to the basket. Haven't seen much of that from Louisiana Tech early on. Normally an extremely efficient team. They've just been turning it over to start the game, and WKU leads 4-0 early on. Louisiana Tech and third-year head coach Talvin Hester trying to find answers right now. Abysmal start to this ball game. 5 turnovers in just over 4 minutes, and WKU leads it 4-0. Coach Hester was a 3-year assistant at Louisiana Tech, goes to Texas Tech for a year, gets to go to a Sweet 16, and then comes back as the head coach. Did a fantastic job last year and has struggled a little bit more this year to piece things together in this puzzle.
Yeah, he took his ball club second in the conference last year. You know, solid coach, second time around here with the program.
For WKU, it's first-year head coach Hank Plona, 86.5%. He told me before the year, do not forget the 0.5% on the winning percentage.
That's important.
At Indian Hills. Extremely successful, 8 conference titles. Makes the jump up to the D1 level. There was a lot of conversation. What would it look like? How would he do? It's been a tough ride with all the injuries so far.
Well, he came in with Steve Lutz last year. Lutz was here for 1 year and then opted to Oklahoma State. they elevated Hank Pona into the head coaching position.
Abram misses the first of 2 free throws out of the break. Extremely rare miss for a player that was 31 for 35 at the free throw line coming into tonight. That's nearly 90%. Makes the second, and Louisiana Tech finally gets on the board. We talked about the turnovers, and we were discussing this during the break, Craig. Louisiana Tech, the first matchup between these two teams on their home floor, they turned it over 7 times all game. They've already turned it over 5 times.
Quite a contrast. You know, and part of that I think is focus. They just haven't seemed really sharp out there.
Marshall for 3, missed that one short. He's misfired on a couple early on. He's not going to stop shooting them though.
Yeah, that's his 3rd or 4th. He's been more aggressive here to start the game.
Beautiful entry to Bacho, but it's knocked away from behind and out of bounds to WKU early on. That's another theme. Louisiana Tech just struggling to get it to Bacho down low.
You know, ODI was fronting them, had good backside help on that by Bayless coming in. Also, Edlin.
Bacho averaging 17.5 points per game, 6.5 rebounds. He's one of the most efficient players in the country, 69%. He shoots it from the floor. Bayless drives, kicks Edlin for 3. That one rattles off, and Bacho gets the rebound. That's probably been the biggest regression for him from last year to this year. Averaged nearly 10 rebounds per game, had 11 double-doubles last year, just 5 this season, but he's had more help in that department, focused more on the scoring as he goes to work this time. Well defended by ODI, who forces the miss.
Nice defense.
Marshall the other way. McHenry fakes the 3, yet to get involved offensively for WKU. Post up now, pulls it out to the wing. Marshall waves Edlin around.
You know, it's been the unlikely players for Western Kentucky with McHenry. I don't think he's even taken a shot yet.
He hasn't. He's got it in the corner now, isolated, fakes the spin, now goes to his left. 7 on the shot clock, dumps it to ODI, right-handed hook. Nice soft touch and gets the roll.
Yeah, it all starts with the catch for ODI, but then nice turn with the little jump hook.
And interesting, McHenry is already over his season assist average. He's got a couple to start this game, averages 1.7 per game. As a guard, he still operates mainly as a scorer, but may have to use him more as a facilitator with all the defensive focus on it. Green hands it off on the left wing, jab from Newman, trapped up top, back to Green. Right side, 3-pointer fired up, that one short off the hand of Bree, and WKU gets another defensive stop. McHenry isolated on Green, crossover, step back, kick out, Edlin for 3. No good, the Hilltoppers can't dial it in from deep early on. Newman the other way, nice move, good finish, drops it off underneath and the goaltend will give Louisiana Tech their first field goal 6.5 minutes in. Newman did a great job on that stop. He had 2 defensive players here coming in. Just hit the brakes.
Yes, and nice dish off. Otherwise, could have led to a block shot for him, but good control on his part.
WKU 0 for 5 from 3-point range so far. They're averaging 10 makes per game over the last 7 games. They're up to second in the conference in makes per game from deep.
Yeah, and Edlin's had a good couple looks. That's kind of his shot. Scored 11 points on Thursday night.
Went 3 for 6 from outside and route to that career high 11 points. As Louisiana Tech comes the other way off the miss. Quick trigger 3 from the left corner. Misses. Neither team can dial it in. Not just from 3, but from anywhere so far. We're 4 for 20 total on field goals in this game. Braxton Bayless, he's been the bright spot for WKU offensively. Can't get the mid-range jumper to go.
Well, in Western Kentucky and Bayless sometimes too, no passes on that offensive attempt.
Can you call someone a bright spot when they've got 4 of 6 points in a game that's been going on for 7 minutes? Kick out, left corner, faking the 3 is Newman. It's inside, another extra pass to Jordan Crawford. Had a great game against WKU the first time around, to Newman, who breaks through with the 3.
Yeah, I mean, Hank Pona's ball club the other night against Sam Houston gave up 43 points in the first half. Defensively, they were very lackadaisical. He was trying to find a combination, really couldn't. This is a contrasting difference from Thursday night's ball game for Western Kentucky.
Trailed that game 43-25 at halftime as Sam Houston was able to cruise to a 78-62 win. Marshall gets stuck on the baseline and called for a travel before the kick out. And WKU turns it over. Feels fitting that even after the travel call, the 3-pointer missed anyway.
Well, I think referees kind of explaining to Marshall that he really could have got called for that offhand forearm push-off. Didn't get that call, but they gave him the walk.
A.J. Bates will bring it up now For Louisiana Tech, the freshman averaging 3.5 points per game. Top 35 ranked player out of the state of Texas, out of Seven Lakes High School. Crawford left wing into the corner. Newman gets inside, drops it off at the last moment. Layup missed, tip no good either for Sean Elkington. And WKU sprints the other way with Jalen Jackson.
Great help defense again.
McHenry from the right wing. That one rattles off. Cada looked like he had a chance at the rebound but couldn't control it. And now Amari Abram brings it up for Louisiana Tech. Abram had just 5 points on 1 for 7 shooting in that first game against WKU, averaging 10.5 in conference play. Nearly lost it, gets rid of it at the last moment, and they reset with Newman with 10 on the shot clock. Deep three from Abram off the pass, and he drains it.
Boy, he looked confident on that shot.
He leads this
a
team
few feet behind the three-point line.
He can shoot it from everywhere. That's the 57th he's made this season. That's top 10 in the conference. And all of a sudden, 9-6, Louisiana Tech. Cada hands it off on the far side in the ball game. Jalen Dorsey for the first time for WKU. Started in that game against Sam Houston. Braxton Bayless, another aggressive drive and gets the teardrop to go. He's got 6 of the 8 for the Hilltoppers. Into the corner, Newman against Jackson. Wraps baseline, knocked away. McHenry had it, threw it right back. Loose ball, saved by WKU. And Coach Plona tells the Hilltoppers to run with it. Bayless brings it across, now shovels to Jackson.
That's kind of unusual for this Western Kentucky ball club to slow it down and wait for the other players to come up.
Coach Plona was telling them to run. They got to the half court and shut it down as McHenry way off on the three-point try. And here comes Louisiana Tech. Up by 1, have to be delighted to be in this ball game, albeit leading the game with how poor the offense has been. Blocked down low, here comes McHenry. He doesn't have numbers, he doesn't care. All the way to the left block and scores with the left hand.
That's his first bucket. That's his strength, his left hand driving.
He heard you mention he hadn't shot it yet.
But Western Kentucky down on this other end, help defense. There's another sign. They have really done a good job of help defense.
Cada thought he had a clean block. The entire WKU bench thought he had a clean block. Instead, called for the foul. And this dogfight between the Dogs and the Tops is going to roll on. 10-9, WKU with the lead in a battle. Low-scoring affair so far inside Tittle Arena, 10-9. The Hilltoppers of WKU leading Louisiana Tech. Tyler Eaton joined by Craig McCormick. This three was just about the only offensive highlight we've got so far as Amari Abram dialed it in from deep. Don McHenry in transition, trying to find a way to get things going offensively. He's one of the conference's best scorers, and WKU needs him tonight.
It sure does. You know, that was his first basket, and he's very good in the open floor like that, taking it to the goal.
Louisiana Tech, a 34% team from outside. They don't shoot a whole ton, about middle of the pack, and really when you start to look at them statistically, all of their marks come out around the middle of the pack. In Conference USA, there's nothing that you pick out and say this team does super exceptionally well, but there's not a real weakness to this Louisiana Tech team beyond the turnovers, and they do already have 7 of those tonight as Abram hits the first free throw out of the break, and we're tied up at 10.
Well, Western Kentucky started this game 4-0, and over the last 6 minutes, it's been Louisiana Tech 10-6.
Hilltoppers 0 for 7 from outside as the second free throw falls. Abram with 6 of their 11. Braxton Bayless has 6 of the 10 for WKU. Marshall on the left side tries to go to Odiai. Odiai was leaving the play, and it's a free turnover. Left side, Abram fakes the jumper, spins the elbow, now gives it outside to Crawford. He only played 11 minutes in the first game against WKU, but in that time had a season-high 11 points and 9 rebounds. Here gets inside.
Another unforced turnover right there, you know.
Throws it away.
Just a lot of disconnect on the offensive end for Louisiana Tech, but they're winning the game.
It's one of those games where you're not at all happy with how your team is playing, but delighted that you're winning it. As Marshall left open on the elbow, he knocks down the jumper. We said coming into the game, well, not that the leading scorer or even the first, second, third, or fourth normal option scoring-wise for WKU. He's going to have to be a factor for the Hilltoppers tonight.
Exactly. That's his fourth attempt here early.
Up top, Crawford goes down low. Clean catch and fouled from behind is Elkington. The backup big averaging 6 points, 2.5 rebounds per game.
You can almost see Hank Pona's strategy here is to front the big guys down low. That time, Odiahe couldn't get back into the play.
Puts the pressure on the guards to deliver clean entry passes. It's been about 50-50 tonight for Louisiana Tech, but when they've been there, the results have been there as the first free throw falls for Elkington. Crosby, Texas native, who funnily enough spent 2 years at St. Edwards. Would you like to guess?
Where?
St. Edwards. Would you like to guess their team name?
You're going to put me on the spot there, right?
I'll give you one guess. One guess. I'm not giving you any extra. What would you guess their team name is?
At St. Edwards?
At St. Edwards.
State? Which state?
I'm not going to reveal that. It's just the team name.
I don't know. You tell me.
The Hilltoppers.
Oh, wow.
So I can't tell you the state, but I can tell you it's probably on top of a hill.
Somewhere, yes. Yes, there you go.
Now called up top as McHenry was trying to drive.
That's a lot of good research on your part.
Well, it made it easy for me that Louisiana Tech had it in his bio. They just conveniently listed them as the Hilltoppers, and obviously when you're getting ready for this game, it's going to catch the eye.
Yeah, Louisiana got caught reaching in there a little bit. You know, the referees for the most part have let both of these teams play.
Marshall, right side drive with 10 on the shot clock, and there a foul called. Abram got a little too aggressive trying to get the cookie jar.
2 times reaching in.
And that is the second on Amari Abram as well.
Yeah, Coach Hester is going to pull him out with the 2 fouls.
Caden Cooper comes back in, the sophomore, averaging 10 points per game. Marshall inbounds to ODI up top. Hands to Bayless. 15 on the shot clock after the reset. Crossover, kick out Marshall. Back to Bayless. Nice ball fake. Hesitation drive. Tries to slip around and through, but called for a walk beforehand.
Just trying to do too much. You know, he's been successful here early, but, you know, at this point, you just got to kick the ball out.
3 assists on 6 made shots for WKU early on. Only 3 made field goals for Louisiana Tech. The issue, we said WKU has to defend without fouling. Already, Tech 5 for 6 at the free throw line. Albeit not on pace for 42 free throw attempts in this game.
Yes.
At least not yet. Left side, Elkington holds it above his head. Guarded now by Cada in for WKU. And that rotation of bigs. Crawford on the baseline against Bayless. Elkington, 16-footer, missed long, and McHenry gets the rebound. Grabs back to the left wing and will set up the offense. Marshall posted up, has the size advantage on the 6'3" Bates. Loses it on the baseline, gets it back, and gets it out to McHenry. We'll see if they reset again with Marshall. They don't. McHenry keeps it himself. Contested jumper from the baseline, somehow gets it to go.
Yeah, McHenry and Green, they got a little thing going on where McHenry's knocking Green's hands off of him. Tapped him away a couple times before that shot.
That's one of those shots. It's a bad shot until it goes in. Right wing, Cooper has it taken away. Good hands by Cada to reach in. Here comes Marshall the other way. Tyrone Wu Marshall held up on the rim. Batted out by Louisiana Tech. It'll stay with the Hilltoppers.
You know, Western Kentucky had been doing a good job under control, but that time 1-on-3, not a good decision.
14-13, the Hilltoppers lead it. Neither team able to piece a run together early on. We'll see if one can to end the first half. 14-13, WKU leading Louisiana Tech inside Diddle Arena. Tyler Eaton joined by Craig McCormick courtside. As Craig, the opportunities have been a bit more abundant for WKU to get out and run here tonight as compared to the first matchup between these two teams. But here, a great example of getting back and defending by Crawford for Louisiana Tech.
Exactly, and you know, Crawford's one of their small forwards, guard type of positions, and good help there. You know, I mentioned going out of the break that, you know, you got to be a little bit smarter on that play. Marshall, we talked about him needing to step up tonight. Maybe Coach had said the same thing to him because he is a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end. That time, you know, taking it 1-on-3 was not the best.
In the first game between these two teams, again, a 77-67 win for Louisiana Tech on their home floor. WKU took 18 more shots than La Tech did in that game. Lost it. They've taken 9 more in this game so far tonight and only have a 1-point lead to show for it because they're shooting 33% from the field. And here, they give away a turnover.
Yeah, Western struggled on the inbounds play.
So far, the saving grace, Louisiana Tech, on the 12 shots they've had, they've only made 3 of them. Defense has been night and day for WKU compared to Thursday against San Houston.
Sure has.
Left side drive, nice stop by Bates. Couldn't get the flip shot to go, though, but down low, Cada can't control the rebound. To Crawford, Newman into the corner. Bates, three-pointer, missed long, and wrapping around to get the board is Marshall. Calls for Cada to set a screen, then denies it, gets bumped on the baseline, sends it out to Jackson. McHenry, quiet night so far. One of the conference's leading scorers, averaging 17.8 per game.
Louisiana Tech almost in like a little matchup zone.
Cada with an offensive rebound off the McHenry miss, couldn't put it back up and in, and here comes La Tech.
Well, that's what Cada does best, offensive rebound.
Right side 3 in transition, missed by Green, and Marshall takes away another rebound. Averaging 6.5 per game over the last 8 games, which is a stretch that started with a 13.8 rebound performance at Louisiana Tech. Marshall double team, nice find to Bayless, fakes a pass, tries a 3. It's his night so far.
Good ball fake by Bayless off the catch. Faked it to the corner and delivered the 3. Is that Western's first 3 of the game?
It is. It took them 8 tries to get the first one to go for a team that normally shoots 34% from deep. And they throw up almost as many as any team in the conference does. Down low, smooth move and finish by Elkington.
Elkington fought off the double team because the pressure came down on him, kept his dribble alive, was able to go up and under. Nice move.
And he's played a lot of minutes early on, not because of any foul trouble from Daniel Bacho so far. I think they just like the way he's playing out there on the floor.
Yeah, the matchup there, for some reason, yeah.
Cada can't get the hook shot to go. Rebound is collected by Elkington as well.
Well, as you mentioned that, Bacho getting ready to check back in this ball game.
Has only played 8 minutes so far. Elkington, 3-point try. That went off the heel and then fouled down low. Trying to get the rebound is Jackson.
See what happens here. Yep, just got caught. His arm got caught in there.
And it's a WKU team that already has a lack of size, but especially with no Babacar 5, which has been the case since the first opening 10 games. You need those guards to crash down and help on the boards.
Everybody needs the help right now for Western Kentucky.
It's incredible to me. They struggle so much in terms of rebounding margin. One of the worst in the conference, but one of the best teams in the country at defensive rebounding in particular. And those guards have a lot to do with it.
Yes.
Edlin to McHenry. Right elbow isolated against Green. Behind the back dribble, drives right, bumped, flips up a shot. They wave it off. Foul called on the floor. It's the 4th against Louisiana Tech. WKU with just 3 so far.
A little smaller lineup here for Western Kentucky. You know, typically McHenry likes to try to get to his left, but every now and then he'll throw you off by going to his right.
They've got 4 guards out there with the lone big ODI. Dorsey gets the inbound, gives it to McHenry. And again, Don McHenry isolates up top.
Mismatch underneath there for a moment with Crawford.
ODI at it for a moment, now gets it back to McHenry. 3-pointer, good from up top. All of a sudden, McHenry heating up. He's got 7 for WKU, and their lead is 5. Bacho up top. Elin nearly takes it away from behind, but off the gamble, it potentially creates an open look, but WKU, great job of rotating defensively.
Moving their feet.
Newman wants to get it to Bacho, can. Instead it goes to Crawford in the corner, 8 on the shot clock. Newman, kick back out. Crawford 3, misses long. ODI tips it, and it's collected by Jackson. McHenry wants it back. Gets it off the shovel, but an offensive foul called before the pass can be made.
It almost looks like the strategy that Hank Plona is doing defensively is they're fronting the big on the inside there, and then he's relying on the guards to come back in and help clean up the boards.
The defense has been working, the offense heating up. Hilltoppers lead at 20-15. Don McHenry, 5th in Conference USA in scoring on the season, averaging nearly 18 points per game. Missed his first 3 shots to start this ball game, but he started to heat up for the Hilltoppers now, up to 7 points late in this first half.
Well, you see the little baseline drive, throwing the hand away from the defender, Green, for Louisiana Tech, and now he comes off the high ball screen there, gets a little handoff and drains the 3.
Was able to get going earlier with the transition basket that we went back and highlighted because it felt like at that point Don McHenry just needed to find a bucket somehow, some way.
Exactly. You know, speaking about threes, Louisiana Tech missed their first 2, made their next 4, missed their last 4. 2 for 10 on the game. Western Kentucky made their last 2, 2 for 9.
It's been a struggle from everywhere for both sides. Louisiana Tech shooting now just 22% from the floor. They are one of the most efficient teams in this conference. 2nd in CUSA. 47% is their normal number from the field. They get a clean look from Crawford out of the break from 3. Can't hit it. Down low offensive rebound. It's been swatted away, and WKU gets it back as well on the baseline.
Well, Green did a great job flying in from the weak side to garner the offensive rebound, but he was trying to go back up against the taller Odiahi. Just didn't work.
No. Keita and Odiahi down low for WKU have done their job for the Hilltoppers in this game, and that's defending those drives and limiting Bacho, who has been a non-factor in this game so far. McHenry trapped on the right side to Jackson, into the corner. Marshall looks down low. Odiahi, huge size mismatch, but he lost it, and they're not going to call the tie-up on the floor. La Tech gets the steal.
Part of that, Odiahi brought the ball down low and gave the guards a chance to knock it away.
Now Bacho gets it down low. He's got his own mismatch, but then turns, and a jump ball called. Looked like a travel, but instead the arrow keeps it with the Bulldogs.
Yeah, just kind of got tied up in there. But, you know, there's a difference between the 2 plays. Odiahi takes the ball down.
Yes.
This one here, he keeps the ball up high. Even though we got off balance there, they call the jump ball.
Bacho just
good help by Western's defense again. You know, they're really doing a good job, help defense. They're just aggressive all over the floor.
That's what I was about to say. Bacho's only gotten 1 shot off in this game. And typically when he shoots, he scores. He's shooting nearly 70% from the field, so the key is to not let him shoot. Gets it here at the free throw line. Outside it goes to Bates on a drive. Good pump fake to get Jackson in the air and banks it in.
Yeah, good job getting into the paint.
Braxton Bayless walks it up with his team high 9 points. He and McHenry with all but 4 for WKU in this first half. Don comes to get on the right side, now hands to Marshall. Back to Bayless, thought about a deep 3, instead puts it on a drive, tripped up on his way to the lane, foul called.
Well, that's one thing. Bayless will put some pressure on you off the dribble. Here he is. He's always aggressive, trying to take it between 2 players here.
It's the first foul called against the point guard Newman. Bayless is an efficient shooter from deep, 44% from outside, just doesn't take a ton of them. McHenry gets it off the wrap, left-handed shot, scoops it up and in. He's got 9 of his own.
Good quick cut. Garnered the ball, but he had to put it up high to get it over Bacho.
Crawford into the right corner, Newman. Guarded by Bayless. Bacho sets a screen. Can't get it to him down low. He's got the mismatch if they can. WKU has 2 guards, though, down there with him. Off the drive, Newman then floats it up to Bacho. Couldn't control it, and Keita rips it away.
Is there a call underneath? Oh, got hidden by the referee there.
Yeah, we have the ref right in front of us. We were waiting to see what the call was officially, and they get it against Bacho. Had a chance for that lob, just couldn't control the pass. Keita then just rips it away, and they get the foul against Bacho after the fact.
Good, strong play by Keita for Western Kentucky. You know, Bacho trying to get his hands back on it, probably a little frustrated because the pass wasn't right there for him to get the lob dunk.
And just like that, he comes back out, and Elkington's in the game again. Jackson, clean look for 3, missed it short.
Louisiana Tech, that's who they want to shoot the 3s.
Absolutely, now just 2 for 18 from outside on the season, and it took him well over half the year to get those first 2. Crawford up top with 1.5 minutes to go in the opening half. Sends it into the right corner. Green fakes the 3, Marshall on him. Keita isolated down low with Elkington.
You know, Louisiana Tech's doing a good job of rotating the ball, but Western's right there on the catch.
Newman can't get around Cada. Good job by the big to keep up with the guard. Finally finds an open man in Bates, who can't hit the three, but a rebound given up to Crawford, who for his size at just 6'3", fantastic rebounder in the minutes he gets and creates a chance to get to the line.
Yeah, right in the right position on the weak side, coming off the ball coming off the rim.
Again, if you missed it earlier, played just 11 minutes against WKU in the game played at Louisiana Tech. Didn't just have a season-high 11 points. He had 9 rebounds. To me, I think the 9 rebounds in 11 minutes is more impressive than the points.
Exactly, no doubt at all.
Makes the first of the 2 free throws and the second.
And he did one game last year against Western Kentucky. He had, I believe, a career high 25 points in the first matchup a year ago.
He likes these games against WKU, the junior who back in the 2022-23 season all-freshman team, Conference USA member. Marshall up top, off the catch, steps back to Bayless. Quick trigger from the left wing, that one's short. That's been what most of the misses have been for WKU in this game. As Crawford brings it up with 40 seconds left to go in the first half. Steps back behind the screen, leaves it for Elkington. He wasn't looking for the pass yet. He was open, but didn't see it coming. Bayless floats it up. Marshall can't score on the alley-oop layup, but fouled on the drive.
Boy, was he running it in fast on that play. Got just a little touch on the, probably around the waist that got him off balance here. We'll take a look and see what happened. Yeah, just a little nudge on the backside.
It looked like we were going to get a signature Woo Marshall moment. But La Tech escapes it with the foul, and now Marshall will go to the line for 2.
You know, going back down to this other end for Louisiana Tech, they're starting to do a little bit more of this high ball screen and the roll. They just couldn't get Bacho or Elkington. I forget which one was in at that point in time. But they're looking for that high roll, just trying to create some separation, and then look for some mismatches on the weak side.
10 turnovers already for Louisiana Tech in this ball game. WKU has given away 8 right back.
Yeah,
to the Bulldogs.
Most of those turnovers came really early in this game when Louisiana Tech just didn't look like that they were focused coming out of the tip.
They had 5 in the first 4 minutes. They've really settled down since then.
Yeah.
As we get a
little timeout
quick
here.
Timeout called by Bates as he brings it across half court with 31 seconds left in this opening half. 24-19, WKU leads. Tyler Eaton and Craig McCormick with you. This feels like a pivotal possession. I understand the timeout for sure for Louisiana Tech. There's a big difference in a game like this where you played so poorly in the opening half between a 2-possession and a 1-possession game at the break.
It sure is. You know, when both teams are struggling to score, it just magnifies each possession, the importance of that. You know, especially going in here toward the half. We'll see how each one executes. We'll see what Coach Hester decides to draw up over there for his team.
Louisiana Tech coming into this game had done something that has been far-fetched in Conference USA this year, and that's they've won back-to-back games on the road in this league. Now wedged in between there were 2 extremely rare back-to-back home losses, but I bring up those 2 games on the road because they beat FIU, and then after the 2 home losses, they beat MTSU their last time out. Not just in those 2 games do they trail only a total of 23 seconds, but the big thing in those, Craig, they win the turnover battle in both of those games. Hasn't gone their way so far tonight, and usually their way of making up for that has been the rebound battle, which WKU is also winning 19-18 early on.
Yeah, extremely important there.
Bulldogs have it out of the timeout, nearly get to the 5 count for the inbound, but finally get it in the near corner to Green. Off to Crawford, and they'll set up their set. Interestingly here, extremely small lineup as they go 4 guards with Elkington as the lone big.
You would think they would be looking for Green in the corner over here, but no.
They get the guard against Cada. Crawford misses the 3. Here comes Marshall. 3 seconds, 2.5. Tries to leave it for Cada. It's deflected, and that will bring the opening half to a close.
Marshall, right idea. You have to know who you're throwing it to, right?
Had to find a way to produce points. If you're WKU, you had to find a way to get a stop on that final possession defensively. It wasn't pretty, and that sums up the entirety of this half. None of it has been how you would draw it up, but the Hilltoppers have to be delighted to take a 5-point lead into the halftime break.
Yeah, we talked about Bayless here, you know, helping to lead this Western Kentucky ball club with some plays here, and Elkington underneath delivering.
24-19, WKU leads. Our halftime show on the way after this. Nearing the end of halftime, 24-19 is the lead WKU will take into the second half here at home against Louisiana Tech. Haven't been a whole heaping ton of highlights to take a look at from this first half, but we've done our best to piece together as many of them as we possibly can for you. Louisiana Tech, as we mentioned, shooting just 21% from the floor in this ball game. Amari Abram has at least been the standout amongst what they have. 6 points so far, hit that deep three that at the time felt like a potential turning point for Louisiana Tech. Didn't end up being the case. Newman is their star that makes things go, and really they have not been able to make anything go in this game, correct?
No, Newman's the one that runs this ball club, but you know, he came in third in the nation in assists, but this time he has 2 assists, but when your team only makes 5 field goals, it's hard to get assists.
And he's got 2 of those 10 turnovers for the Bulldogs. Again, 5 of them in the first about 4 minutes of this ball game, and so many of them have been gifted to WKU, but the Hilltoppers have earned some as well.
Yeah, you see Western's defense, how they're smothering on the off the dribble, and then doing a great job of collecting and going to the defensive glass. But we see Bayless here. Bayless has really stepped up his game tonight, playing under control, taking good decisions, good shots.
He's shown no fear against the Louisiana Tech team with the size advantage. Even out there at guard, they've got several players 6'6" and above. He's settled in when WKU had nothing going early on. And then as the first half went on, Don McHenry started to do Don McHenry things. He's already over, as we mentioned earlier, his season average in assists, and then started to pick up the scoring after that transition layup.
He sure did. You know, we saw him with a nice dish to Odiahi, the big guy for Western Kentucky on the inside. But here, this is just vintage Don McHenry, the type of game that he plays. And then he can also step out and knock down the three. Not the best three-point shooter, but he can make them on occasion.
He's been a lot more aggressive from three-point range as Conference USA play has gone on. He's taken at least 6 in 9 straight games coming into tonight. He's fired up 3 in this game, so right on track for that mark. 1 for 3 from outside. Bayless, though, the standout, averaging just 7 points per game. He's already got 9. We thought it might be Tyrone Marshall. We knew WKU would have to find it somewhere. That Robin to the Batman, that is Don McHenry. It's been Bayless tonight.
Oh, sure has. You know, and we mentioned for Western Kentucky, one other player that they've missed here in the last 2 outings is Christian Lander.
Yes.
Christian Lander in the last 5 conference games, he's been averaging 18 points a game, so he really improved and stepped up his game to help this Western squad score. But he had a bad back the other night. He's not even getting any minutes in this ball game so far.
He was dressed, tried to come out and warm up a little bit. We knew he would be up in the air, as well as Enoch Kalambe, not active tonight for the Hilltoppers. That's 8.5 points per game they don't have to go along with the 15 early in the season from Babacar Faye, who only played 10 games this year. And then Julius Thedford, the star freshman guard, who was up at 12.5 points per game. He's now missed the last 9 games with a right knee injury. So we get the second half underway. Marshall has it on the block for WKU, fires it out to Jackson. Jabs right, goes left, 4-foot floater, acrobatic shot ball.
Not what you would think coming out of the halftime.
I don't know if that's exactly what Coach Clona had drawn up. We'll see if Louisiana Tech draws up some more looks for their star big, Daniel Bacho, who's 0 for 2 from the floor so far.
You know, this high pick and roll that they're doing, Newman has Bacho on the slip, but Western's defenders have their hands up and he can't see it.
Abram beats Bayless on the drive. He's up to 8 now to lead the way for the Bulldogs.
Well, left-handed player, he was able to use that strength on that bucket.
Bayless tries to get right back to the rim. He flips it up, trying to avoid the shot blocking capabilities of Bacho, who's top 15 in the country in that department, and clearly affected that shot. Bacho gets it on an errant pass to the elbow, tied up in traffic. Again, no jump ball call comes in. Fires it out to the right side. 3-pointer on the way, and it's buried by Newman, his second of the night.
A lot of tie-up on the inside on that, but you know, Bacho kept his patience. He's a big, strong kid on the inside there and was able to knock it out to Newman for the 3.
And it's 26-24 now. Louisiana Tech cuts the WKU lead down to 2. Marshall.
See Marshall with the mismatch there, yes.
Takes advantage. Beautiful spin move to beat Cooper to the rim. We've seen them try to set that up a couple of times. That's the best job WKU has done of clearing out that side of the floor for Marshall. Cooper up top into the right corner. Abram has had the hot hand. Now on the left side to Newman. Cooper sets the screen into the corner. Green. Back to Cooper. Thought about the 3 with 5 on the shot clock. Guarded by Jackson. Drives left, lost it. Is it going to be off the leg? It is.
Yeah. Cooper on the catch there, you could tell that he was just struggling he was undecided what he wanted to do, thought about pulling up from 3, and then the clock started eating away at him.
Been a strange game for Cooper. Starts in this one as he normally does for the Bulldogs. Played just 4 minutes and 48 seconds in that opening half. Not foul trouble, only had 1 foul, but that's kind of become a theme for him now over the last several games. The minutes have been spotty, despite being a scorer that on the season is around 10 points per game. Bayless, beautiful spin to the left side and a contact finish. Boy, he's feeling it tonight.
Yeah, you can just see the emotion on his face on that play. Great use of the left hand.
30-24 now. Newman gets a spin move right back. Can't finish, defended by Edlin down low.
Yeah, Newman thought he had a mismatch there with Edlin. Tried to take advantage of it.
And Edlin defends well above his 5'10 frame. Up top, Bayless loses it. WKU has numbers after the sliding attempt to save it, but good job by Law Tech to recover. Left side, Marshall. Cooper on him. Hands to Cada. Tried to go right back to Marshall, but bobbled it and lost it. Cooper holds on the right wing, now gives it back to Abram. McHenry on him. Left side spins back right and fouled by McHenry.
The foul is on the Hilltoppers, number 2.
Second on Don.
His second, team's first of the half.
Hilltoppers now with a more efficient start to this second half, up to 39% shooting from the floor. The magic number for them this season has been 40%, 12-2 this year when they shoot over 40%, 5-1 in Conference USA play. And they were well under that number against Sam Houston on Thursday. Beautiful backdoor cut and find as Abram is the beneficiary.
I don't know if Newman was trying to hit Bacho and then all of a sudden the other Louisiana Tech player slipped in the backside.
When you average 8 assists per game, we'll give the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
30-26, both offenses have ticked up here in the second half. Each team 3 for 4. Bayless able to get away at least for a moment from Green, who slipped up, hits Cada, and he's got an easy layup off the 5.
Well, Cada did a great job on the slip there to get behind Bacho.
Boy, business has picked up here in the second half, hasn't it?
It sure has.
4 minutes in and it looks like a completely different game. Left corner, Abram heat check 3. He buries it.
Yeah, you can't leave him those open looks like that, even though Western tried to rotate over there toward him.
McHenry holds up top, tried to go to Marshall. That's the second time somebody has tried to flip it to Wu Marshall, and he was running away from it that time. Fortunate it's not a turnover. Bayless denies the screen from Cada. Drives right, gets the rim. Bacho comes to help, and he spikes it down onto the sideline. This is a WKU team with a great volleyball tradition.
Yeah.
Bacho looked like he belonged on a volleyball court there. The screen from Cada. And he spikes it down. Asserting himself defensively, can he assert himself offensively? His Bulldogs trail at 32-29, the preseason conference player of the year, scoreless, but has 4 points or 4 rebounds in that block. 32-29, WKU leading over Louisiana Tech early on in the second half. Tyler Eaton, Craig McCormick with you. It was a defensive slog in the opening half, but Craig, we were talking about during the break, it's like both teams remembered that while one goal is to make the other team score less than you in basketball, the other team is to score more than the other team in basketball. The offenses have been clicking to start the second half.
It's like a night and day difference, you know, coming out at a halftime. Louisiana Tech 4 for 5 from the field, Western Kentucky 4 for 6. So, you know, we're seeing a better rhythm of this flow of the game out here on both squads offensively. We're still seeing aggressive defense,
yes,
but they're executing better on offense.
And better shot making. Louisiana Tech 2 for 2 from 3 in the second half after going 2 for 13 in the opening half. They've cut the WKU lead to 3. Marshall isolated off the inbound, slips it up quickly to avoid the help from Bacho.
Yeah, he had that was almost a setup play, it seemed like, coming out of the break, with he going one-on-one with Cooper.
Marshall now has 8. He's heated up in this second half. Down low, Bacho through the bump, scores it with the foul on Queta and 1. They finally get him his first field goal.
Yeah, Newman, I wonder if Coach Tasker has said the same thing, is let's try to make an effort to get it to our best player, Bacho, on the inside there. Great positioning by Bacho. You know, and Queta is a big guy himself.
Yeah, only had 10 points the last time out. In the win they did get against MTSU, has been in double figures 24 times this year, but only 3 of the last 5 games. He had 18 against WKU the first time around on just 7 shots, went 8 for 14 from the free throw line, and now he's got his first 3 points of the game, and WKU's lead has dwindled to 2. Jackson holds it in the corner. And a Bayless up top. Drives left, lost it off his own foot, and here comes Louisiana Tech in transition. Drop back, huge slam, spiked home from Cooper.
Newman was sizing that one up as it came down, and man, did Cooper go flying in.
That looked like Michael Jordan extending his arm in Space Jam to get that ball to the rim. What a way to tie us up at 34. Marshall crossover dribble, step back 3. How about an answer from deep from Blue Marshall?
We're seeing a lot more confidence in Marshall here in the second half. I think he's made his three attempts here. 2 of them were nice drives to the basket. This time a pullback 3.
I think he was offended to see somebody else make a highlight reel dunk on his floor.
He can definitely bring it too from time to time.
37-34, WKU back in front. Cooper wants to respond with a 3. Missed it off the right side of the rim, and Jackson gets the rebound. So McHenry wants to run. Right side crossover dribble and bumped on his way to the rim.
Well, McHenry generally keeps that dribble going, applies a lot of pressure on you defensively.
Into the game for the Hilltoppers, number 21,
You could have told me anything was going to happen in this second half after the first half we saw. What we've seen so far here, I would not have believed. I would refuse to believe the offensive explosion we've seen so far.
No doubt.
Right side Marshall. Little defensive confusion for a moment, but gets it to Bayless, and Louisiana Tech settles back into their matchups. 7 seconds on the shot clock, and Bayless bailed out by a foul against Bates.
Yeah, the Western Kentucky offense kind of seemed out of rhythm on that particular possession, but give credit to Louisiana Tech. You know, they were applying a little bit more pressure.
Marshall and Bayless now tied for the team high for the Hilltoppers with 11 apiece. Marshall now his 13th time on the year in double figures.
Good show by Bacho out front too.
Nice find to Odiahi after that show up front by Bacho, was still able to recover enough to at least get a little contest on it. Mostly there, Odiahi just missed the layup. And Louisiana Tech gets it back on the baseline. Abram, Jackson on him. Cut off on a baseline drive and has to go back up top to the point guard, Newman. Abram leads everybody with his 13 points. Newman gets around Bayless, stops, fakes once, goes up the second time, can't hit but fouled on the short jumper in the lane.
You almost thought there for a second he might have dragged that pivot foot.
That was the same way he stopped in transition earlier. Does a good job of staying set and not moving that pivot as he was able to lean in a bit to Bayless. We've seen that over the last few years in basketball, especially the NBA. It's taken it by storm, that lean in to get the contact. And more often than not now, you get that call.
Well, and part of that too, as you're saying there, Tyler, is, you know, he did that lean in, but Bayless jumped also.
Yes.
Left his feet. So had he stayed there, you know, then it's questionable, a little bit more questionable about the contact. Who initiated the contact?
First free throw goes for Newman. 85% shooter on the season, but in conference play alone, he's been the best free throw shooter in the league at around 90%. He started to tick up on the assists now with 5 after he had just a couple in the first half.
Yeah, he was kind of our focus player coming into this game, and he's kind of getting in a better rhythm here in the second half.
And unsurprisingly, as he has gotten going, so has the Louisiana Tech offense as a whole. They trail it now by 1. Bayless flares out on the left wing, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Marshall, this is the exact same play we saw earlier. Gets inside, can't score it this time, and it's rebounded by Cooper. Quickly, Newman operates, stuck in the lane, fakes one pass, goes out to the corner, extra pass made. Three-pointer from Abrams, short. Cooper couldn't get the board off his fingertips.
Abrams looked like he was off balance that time.
Bayless off balance, trying to score in transition, pushed it long, and Louisiana Tech. We'll see if they try to slow it down here and
So
settle
is
in.
there something in there when you're off balance that doesn't lead to too much success?
I believe most around the sport would confirm that to be true. And Newman was up top against Marshall, but Coach Hester did not like what he was seeing there on that possession and takes a timeout with 12:01 left in this second half. Louisiana Tech has rallied to cut the WKU lead down to 1. In the first half of this game, Louisiana Tech scored 19 points. In the second half, we haven't played 8 minutes. They've scored 17 already. 37-36 WKU leads. The halftime lead that was 5 trimmed down to 1, and a lot of it has had to do with our key player coming in. Sean Newman, the star point guard, had 2 assists in the first half. He's up to 5 now already, but he's been getting it done in the scoring department as well with 8 points.
And that's unusual for him to be making threes, but here he is on the nice dish to the opposite side, with Cooper coming in strong.
I still don't know how he made that dunk.
Nope. It was impressive, that's for sure.
We mentioned the
I'm
talent
glad we were
earlier.
able to see the highlight.
Absolutely. We mentioned the talent earlier with Cooper. 4-star recruit coming out of high school, goes to Oklahoma, only plays in 15 games, comes here to Louisiana Tech. It's been on and off, especially in conference play. Hadn't played a ton in this game tonight despite starting, but it's moments like that you get the glimpses.
Yes.
We've seen more than glimpses of the offense for Louisiana Tech, and now we got a glimpse of some pushing and shoving down there between WKU and La Tech.
Well, we've got one of the tallest players and one of the smallest players between Bacho and Jackson.
And if there's one thing to know about Jalen Jackson, he is not going to step back from anyone.
And this wasn't line up according to height on this out of bounds play, was it?
You come out of the timeout, line everything up for the inbound, and things get chippy as Jackson is trying to wedge himself in between like the middle of a sandwich there, trying to break things up in that bunch because he wants to stay glued to Newman.
And that's what Jackson does. He's an agitator
and
defensively.
There picks up a foul, and that might have been one called by the officials to try to calm things down a little bit. Make sure things don't get escalated out of this back and forth.
Yeah, you see it here that Bacho and him are both trying to wedge him out of there.
We'll see if we can play more than 3 seconds when we come back from this break. WKU up by 1 here at home against Louisiana Tech. About halfway through the second half of play. Tyler Eaton and Craig McCormick with you here on ESPN Plus as we take a look at what's coming up for both of these two teams. First, for Louisiana Tech, Sam Houston, New Mexico State, UTEP. That's a lineup of games for this team, Craig, you certainly see as winnable for a team that's not where they want to be in Conference USA right now.
No, but, you know, we talked about Sam Houston had a big win on Western Kentucky's floor the other night. Very impressive. New Mexico State gets the upset win on the road tonight. So, you know, you just don't know who's playing on that particular night.
And then WKU, it's the UTEP New Mexico State double dip that no one looks forward to. That's a tough trip to have to make, especially from Bowling Green.
It sure is. You know, by the time you hit El Paso and head to Las Cruces, that's a tough haul.
Hilltoppers, though,
tough place to play in New Mexico
State. It is
State
as
too.
well. Hilltoppers got to try to find a way to take care of business here at home. Their lead is down to 1 here in the second half. Foul called on the baseline drive. Good job by the freshman Bates to get the Hilltoppers in the air defensively, draw the contact, and at the line he can give the Bulldogs the lead.
Nice pump fake to get Odiahi off of his feet.
And for the most part, Odiahi, Keita had done a good job of not fouling throughout this game, but Odiahi now up to 3 fouls. For now, Coach Plona is going to keep him out there. You've really got to flex. Normally, in a spot where he's got 3 fouls, you might pull him here, but you've got 2 centers if you're WKU.
Yeah, and they've split time for the most part. You know, Keita has probably been getting a little bit more of late because he's had more production, especially on the offensive glass. Had a big game the other night, 10 points, 9 rebounds. So, you know, that was big on Keita's part.
Jalen Dorsey gets inside, swings it out to the corner to Marshall. Dorsey sets the screen and they get the switch. We'll see if they try to take advantage, but Louisiana Tech immediately switched off. Then a bump called away from the ball. It was a good job of making sure they got Newman off of Marshall, but then immediately they pick up the foul, and it's the worst case scenario as Abram gets his 4th.
Really, he actually had a little bit more of a reach. I was thinking it was just a bump. These referees have tightened up this game a little bit here in the second half on those bump calls.
Marshall's contested baseline jumper, no good. Newman gets the rebound as Abram has to come out with those 4 fouls. Crawford in for him. Looks both ways now, gives it to Newman.
Once again, Bacho was open on the slip, but Western's defense had their hands up, couldn't see him.
Newman whips it into the corner. Out to Cooper, jabs back to Newman, 10 on the shot clock. Tries to get around Bayless, cut off. Leaves it back to Crawford in the corner, 4 on the shot clock. Nice find to the right wing, 3-pointer swished home by Bates, but a great find from Crawford.
Sure was, kick it to the weak side. Tell you what, Bacho was working hard underneath there too, trying to get open.
And Louisiana Tech has their largest lead of the game at 4. WKU unable to answer as Bayless goes crashing into the cheerleaders. La Tech has numbers. I don't think they realize it now, and Bayless is able to get back and recover defensively. Newman tries to kick it out to the corner, pass deflected, gets it back, then throws a jump ball that's tipped. Bayless has it to McHenry. Left side, slips around the defender and drops it in. Quick timeout taken by the Hilltoppers.
Well, off the turnover, no dribble, throw the ball ahead to McHenry.
So the La Tech lead cut to 2, 41-39.
That's perfection. Turnovers lead to points.
When WKU has been able to get out and run, the turnovers have been there for Louisiana Tech, but so many dead ball, passes out of bounds, travels and such. When they've been able to get out and run, the Hilltoppers have been able to score like that. And whether it's transition or whether it is in the half court, Don McHenry, who had such a good first half, there finally gets his first basket of the second half. He's really going to have to piece it all together as this game goes on. He's the closer for this team.
He is, but good decision by Bayless to be able to throw it ahead instead of just trying to advance it off the dribble.
McHenry's been efficient, and really that's been the bugaboo for him this season. It has been the shooting percentages at times, and he's 5 for 9 from the floor. Hasn't really hunted for his shot as much as usual so far tonight.
Yeah, a lot of times he forces the action too much.
Yeah.
There was one stretch that he was shooting 30% from the field and 20% from three-point line, and he just kept pushing it. He's a scorer. He's not a shooter.
And even at that point in the loss to Sam Houston on Thursday, he went just 4 for 16 from the field. As we get back underway, Crawford has it up top. McHenry's on him. Hands to Bates. Inside, wraps around ODI, takes the foul, missed the shot, but that's the 4th now on Leroy ODI.
Seemed like Bates, after that last 3 that he made, he was feeling a little bit more confident in there.
And he did reach around and got the arm and might have got the top of the head as well. A.J. Bates, the Houston native from Seven Lakes High School, the 32nd ranked player coming out of the state of Texas. He's got 7 points in this one, averaging 3.5 per game. Has only been in double figures twice this year. Had a huge game with 19 against FIU when a couple of their guards were banged up and he had to play a ton of minutes in that ball game. This is not a team with a lot of young players, most of them experienced, just like WKU, but Bates is clearly one that's going to develop into a great player if he stays here at Louisiana Tech as he makes it a 4-point game with the free throws.
Yeah, he's got a nice stroke. Showed it there at the line, showed it on the three-pointer before that.
Can WKU find a response? Louisiana Tech on a 9-2 run over the last 4 minutes and 40 seconds. McHenry up top. Pulls it out back to the red towel logo at midcourt, now walks to the right side. Uses a screen from Cada. Louisiana Tech traps off of it to Bayless. Drives off the catch and gets the runner to go.
Well, he turned hard off the catch over there, and that's what led to the opening in the lane.
Bates lost it, gets it to Crawford. Now Newman gets a free baseline drive, pauses. Cada does a good job of not leaving his feet and forces them to reset. The Diddle Arena crowd coming to life now. Bates, left side. Picks up his dribble, kicks it out to Crawford. 8 on the shot clock, behind the back. Gets inside, can't finish around McHenry. And here comes Marshall. Nearly lost it, recollects. And WKU settles in with McHenry up top. 2-point game. There's the trap off the screen. Right side, Jackson. Aggressive drive. Kick out 3. Bayless hits it again.
Boy, Bayless is having one of those games for West Kentucky. Scored 9 in the first half, and now he's up to 16 here in the second.
2 off of his high of 18 against Kentucky Wesleyan. And the Hilltoppers have a 1-point lead. With all the injuries, it feels like every game some WKU player is setting a new career season high. Bates up top, Bayless on him, 8 on the shot clock, spins through and fouled from behind. WKU fans not happy with that one, but Craig, I think that's the right call. We'll see on the replay, he definitely reached.
Yeah, I don't know if he got bumped here at the end on the spin, yeah. The little reach around there and might have stepped on his foot there that caused the trip.
And that is the 7th on WKU, so a bonus situation for the final 8-11 of this ball game for Louisiana Tech. 14 for 15 at the free throw line.
Well, and you had mentioned that was the downfall of Western Kentucky in their first meeting down in Ruston, Louisiana, against La Tech, is that they shot 42 foul shots in that game.
The most they had taken in 10 years, made 29 of them. As Bates makes both of these, they've been far more efficient tonight.
Well, they're taking advantage of these free opportunities tonight.
And that's why they've got this lead.
Excellent shooting from the line.
If you're going to get there 17 times, you can't fault a team if they make 16 of them. Bayless gives it to Marshall. WKU trailing again by 1. Picks up his dribble, now sends it right side McHenry. Looking down low, Cada against the star Bacho. Leans in, loses it, and a foul called.
Kind of got bailed out on that one, I think.
That's the second time WKU's had a possession bailed out by a foul here in this second half. This game has turned into the battle of titans coming into the season. You thought it would have been. Now 2 teams desperate, jostling in Conference USA. 45-44, Louisiana Tech leads. Louisiana Tech up by 1. It'll be WKU ball out of the timeout here inside Diddle Arena. Tyler Eaton, Craig McCormick with you. On the verge of a career night is one Braxton Bayless. Spent 2 years in Indian Hills, a couple at Niagara. He's come out tonight with 16 points. He's been getting it done from every level. We talked about this, someone that doesn't normally take a lot of threes. He's been aggressive on the drive. He's 2 for 3 from outside and just hit a huge one for these Hilltoppers. They went back and checked to make sure that foot was not on the line. It stays a 3, and the lead still 1 for Louisiana Tech.
Well, he's done an excellent job of playing under control and getting into the paint, and that's what's led to his success. But he's done an excellent job, too, from burying some of these open threes that he's had.
He's been WKU's most aggressive driver. Here has an open look off the inbound that is wiped away by Bacho.
Bacho just swiped that one out of there.
And did a good job that time of keeping it inbounds, too. So Louisiana Tech gets a possession out of it. A quick stop looked like an easy bucket for Bayless, but that's what Bacho does. He hasn't had the impact in the scoring department tonight, but so far hasn't needed it.
He's got that, well, he had the front there for a moment underneath.
We'll see if they try to get him involved. 5 on the shot clock. Now it goes to Bacho against Marshall with the left hand foul. The tip in after won't count, but Bacho will have 2 free throws.
He's just strong off the catch there. Here he puts it on the floor, 1 dribble, and tries to use his left. But, man, he takes up a lot of space in there.
Bacho, the Frenchman, spent 2 years at Texas Tech, comes to Louisiana Tech, was the newcomer of the year in the league last year, all-defensive team, preseason player of the year this year. Misses the first free throw short. He's a 75% shooter, gets there about 6.5 times per game. He hasn't been involved enough offensively to get there a ton tonight.
Now, we had mentioned he was scoreless there in the first half.
Makes the second free throw.
Only his 4th point here in the second half.
46-44 is the Louisiana Tech lead. Bacho now 2 for 3 at the stripe. McHenry to Jackson to Marshall. Catch and shoot 3. Short. And Crawford skies up high to pull down the rebound. 7 minutes left
Crawford,
to go.
he's aggressive going after the rebounds. You talked about that first game.
Pretty easy to see how he got those 9 and 11 minutes. Well, okay, 9 and 11 minutes, still not easy, but you can piece it together. Newman drives, now pulls it out to the wing. 10 on the shot clock. Bayless on him. Gets a screen from Cooper. Double team comes, now it goes right side. Crawford goes right at Jackson.
That's an offensive.
Lowered the shoulder and drove through him, and Jackson fired up on the floor as he's helped up by his teammates after drawing the offensive foul.
But it was a good quick swing over there, but boy, we talked about Jackson for Western Kentucky being an excellent defender. Moved his feet and got in front and took the contact. Fired up about it, as you said.
He's been out there a ton tonight for the Hilltoppers. Nearing 30 minutes on the floor. McHenry leads all WKU
and that's
plays with
unusual
32
for Jackson, too.
It is. He, on the season, only averages 19 minutes per game, and that's a number that's gone up lately out of desperation. McHenry right side, wild shot. I think he wanted a foul. Didn't get it.
I almost think he was thinking to passing it to Keita. That was on the inside. It got stuck in between, yes.
Fortunately, Louisiana Tech, or fortunately for WKU, Louisiana Tech unable to handle it, and the Hilltoppers get another possession underneath.
You know, and sometimes those are the hardest ones, those odd balls that come off the rim.
Marshall wide open because slipping up down there was Cooper, and we're tied at 46.
Western Kentucky has had success on the out-of-bound underplay. We saw Bayless catch one early, wide open, but it got blocked by Bacho. This time, Marshall on the slip.
Marshall up to 13. That's exactly what he scored against Louisiana Tech in the first game. Crawford stuck with it, goes to Cooper. Now right side, into the hands of Newman. Only 8 points, but 5 assists. Left side, it's stuck with Bacho. 3 on the shot clock to Newman. He's gonna have to fire up a deep 3. Missed it long, rebound tip. Pure hustle from Cooper, thought he was fouled. Here comes WKU. Bayless crosses over, lost it, and now a foul called at the elbow.
And that's where Bayless kind of gets himself in troubles at times because he tries to continue to force it, and he was trying to force it between 2 players.
That's the 6th foul on Louisiana Tech. They're already in the bonus for the rest of the game. WKU is with the next foul committed. Edelin Dorsey and ODI all out there on the floor now for WKU with Jackson and Bayless. Bayless gets the inbound on the baseline. Teardrop swift home to tie the season high.
Clapping his hands as he comes down here. He's feeling it, trying to get his crowd going for Western Kentucky.
And they do come to life here inside Diddle. 48-46. Love Bacho with the response.
Boy, that's the first time that they've been able to slip that high pass into Bacho. He does an excellent job of rolling and keeping his hands up and flushing it.
He's got 6 points all in the second half, and we're tied up at 48. What a dandy this has turned out to be. Jackson left side. Bayless for 3. Why not?
Looks like maybe Newsom came down.
Newman's down.
Or Newman, I'm sorry. Yeah, he came down immediately.
He went up to contest the shot. We'll see if maybe it was an awkward landing. What happened there?
I think maybe Bayless, he was fading backwards and his feet came down, and that's what Newman came down on, I think.
They'll
see if we can
up.
see this here in a moment.
Gonna at least initially try to walk it off. Not able to put much weight at all on that left foot right now. And yeah, it looked like he landed on the right foot of Bayless and twisted a little bit.
Yeah. It was just the way that Bayless went up and came down, kind of elevated himself toward Newman some, and Newman's kind of closing out, kind of a combination of the two. Hopefully Newman is not injured bad, can get back into this game.
He heads back to the locker room with 4:51 left to go in the game, and WKU leading at 51-48. Braxton Bayless with a new career high here at WKU with 21 points. Lob. Cooper couldn't handle it, was just a tad high, and Dorsey up with it.
Yeah, Bates had Cooper coming on the weak side.
Jackson to Bayless, thought he was gonna shoot that one from 5 feet off the line. Goes right, has some room, leaves it at the last moment to get it back home by ODI.
Well, Well, that's an excellent move by Bayless. He drew Bacho to come over and left Adiahi wide open.
Bates at the free throw line. Looks outside to Crawford. Louisiana Tech needs an answer. Crawford guarded by Evelyn. Can't get around it behind the back dribble.
Too
Stuck
much
on the
dribbling for Louisiana Tech right now.
The ball is getting stuck in isolation.
Yeah.
Bates sends it into the corner. Crawford, cross-court pass. 3 on the shot clock. Having to fire and hitting is Abram.
That's an answer.
He has been the answer for them tonight. Feels fitting with the 1 on the jersey. 53-51. Now the WKU lead. We've got one more break. When we come back, we're going to find out together who's going to come out on top in this battle in CUSA play. 53-51, WKU leading Louisiana Tech inside 4 minutes to go. Inside historic EA Diddle Arena here on John Oldham Court. Louisiana Tech was struggling to get anything offensively there. The response comes in the form of the Amari Abram 3. He's up to 16 points, 3 for 5 from outside. The rest of the team is 3 for 15 from deep in this one. Now we don't know the status of Newman the rest of the way. A lot of weight on the shoulders right now of one Amari Abram.
Exactly, and he's delivered, as you said, shooting it extremely well from outside. At a time that Louisiana Tech was really struggling, we talked about that they were getting the ball stuck in one player's hands and not rotating it around. But late in that shot clock, they were able to find Abrams.
And worth noting, over at the end of the bench for Louisiana Tech, you can squint and see it in our shot there. Newman is back out there trying to stretch out. We'll see if he gives it a go in the final 3:40 of this one. His Bulldogs trail it by 2. Jackson, right side drive, caught in traffic, and a foul called on the drive.
It almost looked like Cada fouled Jackson more than the Louisiana Tech players did. No, there it is.
Bacho got the arm in there.
Yeah. From this angle, it looked like Cada had more contact.
And that's a call that, to the officials' credit, they have consistently made that call in this game. Jackson will have 2 free throws. A 63% shooter on the season, swishes the first. Jackson now with 3 points. That's his average on the season. But to go along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists, that ties for the team high with Bayless. And his second free throw makes it a 2-possession game. The freshman Bates right now having to operate as the point in this late game situation. Gets a screen from Bacho. They've got the switch. Bacho wide open down low. Marshall recovers. He and Cada there for WKU.
Good closeout defense by the Hilltoppers that time.
McHenry gives to Bayless. 3:10 left to go. Who would have thought in this situation Braxton Bayless is the one you're running your offense through? Trying to get open off a screen, can't. Instead it goes to Marshall. 8 on the shot clock, guarded by Cooper.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and McHenry was just standing out in the other corner. Now he comes across against the ball.
Lost it on the way up with 3 on the shot clock, gets it to Marshall, but the timer expires. Great defense from Louisiana Tech in that spot.
McHenry might have come down awkward here on this side, taking a little bit extra time getting up.
He gets up and he's able to run it off, and immediately after the fact, Jalen Jackson and Braxton Bayless start pumping those hands up to get the Diddle Arena crowd back into it. They don't want anything to break up the noise cascading down from the stands. Bates working to the right side all the way to the rim. Contested layup, no, misses long, but it's chased down by Cooper in the corner. I think Bacho thought it might have been a lob. Abram has it up top. Step back, well defended by McHenry. Abram gets it right back. 5 on the shot clock. Down to 3. And they get a hand check against McHenry. So Abram will take 2 free throws. Didn't look like much there, but again, they've pretty much consistently called any contact that gets in on the body.
You know, that's one thing. They're doing it on the perimeter, on the outside. On the inside, on the interior, you better be a man coming in there, because They're letting a lot of contact go.
First free throw
But
is
it's
good
going
for
both
Abram.
ways, okay?
It is.
I'm not saying it either way, but
Abram now 4 for 5 at the line, 89% shooter on the season. He's got 17 points, make it 18 with a second free throw. Bates, the only other player for Louisiana Tech in double figures with his 11. Just the third time this year he's scored 10 or more. Bayless on the right wing with a 2-point lead. Isolated, drives in, fades away, and scores again! 23 for Bayless. Give him a career high across all of his stops. Pacho trying to answer. Did he take an extra step? No, he's fouled.
A little contact.
He
yeah,
was pushed.
I think he got pushed there.
I agree.
This home crowd doesn't like it, but you know, you got to call it the way it is, and he had contact.
Coach Plona signaling for a walk, but I think the bump came and caused it.
Yeah, I almost think Cada got him with a little bump from. He had to reach in from both sides, but I think the bump came from Cada on the back.
The boos will pour in for these free throw attempts.
Tyler, we talked about how well that Abrams has played. Where's he at on a career high or season high for him?
As the first free throw goes, Abram explosive. He scored 23 earlier this season against UT Arlington, at a season high 5 3-pointers in that one. He's got 18 so far. Still 155 left. May not seem like a lot of time, but he can score in bunches.
Just kind of had that feeling that he was probably getting close.
Bacho makes it a 2-point game at the stripe. All of a sudden, he's got 8 points and is 4 for 5 at the stripe. Bayless controls up top with a career high 23. Bates, the freshman from Houston, on him.
See Hank Plona kind of calling out the play.
Bayless drives right. McHenry gets in the way for a screen, lost his footing, and it's turned over. Cooper up with it for Louisiana Tech. Abram thought about a three, doesn't take it. Left side, buried. It's Bates, and Louisiana Tech takes the lead. 58-57, minute 20 to go. Now it's in McHenry's hands for WKU. Only 11 points so far. Knocked away by Bacho. Has to chase it down into the backcourt with 15 on the shot clock. McHenry, head fake, step back from the top of the key. Miss long, Marshall with the offensive board. Posts up against Cooper. Fade away, hook shot, no! McHenry's put back, good! And the foul!
As well as Marshall's played in the second half here, he wanted that ball in his hands there. Didn't want to get it out of the box. You see McHenry coming in, slipping in for the follow and one.
Of all the ways for Don McHenry to make a play in that spot, who would have guessed it's on a putback?
Totally unusual.
McHenry dribbles and spins. It's a 1-point game as the free throw flies. 60-58 now, WKU leads. Under a minute left to go. Bates just hit the huge three. He's got 14 points.
He's done a good job, especially with Newman being out.
Newman still out with the injury. Bates has it on the right wing. Up top, Cooper now left side in the hands of Abram. He's been the offensive star. Wants a step back three. Swished it.
Boy, what a sweet-looking shooter.
61-60 Louisiana Tech. Coach Hank Plona takes the timeout with 32.9 ticks on the clock. What a game.
I tell you what, Abrams kind of reminds me a little bit of some of these three-point shots that he's been making, kind of that James Harden type of
especially
step
with the
back.
left hand and the
step backs, yeah, and he's drilling it. That last one didn't hit anything but the bottom of the net.
Abram, we mentioned earlier the talent with Cooper. You can see from the pipeline of where they came from, how they landed here. Abram spent a year at Ole Miss, spent a year at Georgia Tech. Tech was a 4-star player out of high school, averaged 8 as a freshman at Ole Miss. Comes to Louisiana Tech. He's averaging 12 per game this year. He's been the star tonight, but getting help from another emerging star in A.J. Bates.
Yeah, Bates. And then McHenry, we talked about that, slipping in from the weak side there. A couple big shots, but, you know, these two teams have been going back and forth in the last couple minutes with point after point after struggling big time in the first half.
And that was a great job by Abram. There's a little confusion off the screen for WKU of who was going to step out and pick up that assignment. Cada didn't quite get out to the three-point line. Abram saw the separation. When you've got a score like that, they see blood and they fire.
Yeah, you can see the passion. Coach Hester over there in his team's timeout trying
Both
to gather.
teams need this.
Yeah, exactly.
WKU just 5-8 in Conference USA play. They've lost their last 4 after a 3-game winning streak. Louisiana Tech 7-7 in the conference. They were picked to win this league. No one would have expected them to be in this spot. I don't think you would have expected either team to be in this spot. WKU has dealt with all the injuries for Louisiana Tech. It's just been slightly disappointing in conference play. A chance to right the ship here. 32.9 seconds left to go. 61-60 WKU basketball as we get back underway. Cada gets the inbound, hands to Bayless, gets around Bacho, who fouls him on the layup try with 27.6 left to go.
I think if Bayless would have showed the ball in a normal layup situation there, that Bacho had that, but he pulled it back and created a different angle that drew the foul.
Bacho now with 4 fouls to go along with the 4 on Abram. Bayless has 2 free throws and makes the first to tie the game at 61. That's the first free throw he's taken in this masterpiece of a performance. 24 points, a 58% free throw shooter on the season. Spins it in the right hand, fires. Throw the percentages out the window in this spot.
Yeah, when it's your night, that's what you do. You step up and make 2.
And now Louisiana Tech and Coach Hester take a timeout of their own with just under 25 seconds left in a 62-61 ball game. If you're just joining us, you've missed quite a bit, but we can catch you up pretty easily. A career night for Braxton Bayless, 25 points for the Niagara transfer. Started his journey with Coach Hank Plona at Indian Hills, averaging just 7 points per game on the season. Had been in double figures 4 straight before that Sam Houston loss, which is 3 for 13 from the floor in that game. Hugely disappointing loss for WKU, blown out on their own floor. Bayless has been the answer tonight. On the other side, 21 for Amari Abram. You've got to figure in this spot, you would normally think Abram or Bates with his 14 points is who Louisiana Tech would look for, but you cannot crash too hard and come off of the star big Bacho, who's got 8 points all in this second half.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things that I'd almost, Bates has done a good job filling in for Newman. Do you try to get some action on one side and flip it over to the weak side and see if Abrams can deliver again? That's kind of been their success. They haven't had too much success trying to find Bacho on the interior. But keep in mind, if that shot goes up and they don't make it, Western Kentucky has got to get their hands, get their body on Bacho. Big guy in there, good offensive rebounder.
And both teams in the double bonus, so you can't foul if you get in a bad spot. With only a point to spare, 62-61, WKU leading over Louisiana Tech. Bulldogs basketball out of the timeout.
Yeah, that's your point there, Tyler, is aggressive defense without fouling.
Which was our key coming into the game. Sometimes we get it right.
How did it come around like that?
They've got that stack again. Jalen Jackson not trying to fight into the middle of it this time. As Don McHenry is now wedged in between that sandwich of players. It's Bates that gets the inbound. Clock ticks under 20 seconds left to go.
Spread floor for Louisiana Tech.
They're going to wait to initiate the offense. Jackson nearly forces the closely guarded call, doesn't get it. 10 seconds left to go. Bates wraps right, double team comes. Down low, Bacho open. Cada recovers and fouls. With 5.4 left to go. Who else but Daniel Bacho to have 2 free throws?
Well, Western Kentucky had been showing hard out on that ball screen. And this time Bacho had the slip, and Cada came out and maybe stayed a little bit too long. Couldn't get back in time to Bacho. Bacho was wide open. Good delivery.
4 for 5 at the line tonight. Makes the first and silences the crowd for a moment. to tie us up at 62 apiece. And head coach Hank Plona for WKU will take a timeout. One more free throw on the way after the timeout for Bacho, who's got 9 points in the second half. He's only made 2 field goals in this game, but I mentioned it, I think we both probably had a feeling the ball was going to start out on the perimeter. If you commit too much one way or another, Bacho was going to factor into this possession.
Yeah, they definitely wanted that. I think they wanted to kick it to the weak side, but then Bacho slipped and was wide open. And I think it was Crawford. I think Crawford might have had the ball in his hands at that point, made a nice delivery inside. But you know what? After watching a struggling, almost if you want to call it an ugly first half, this game has turned into a terrific second half.
Here's the way to sum it up. We had 43 points total scored in the first half, okay? In the second half alone, Louisiana Tech have scored 43 points. Bacho stands at the line. 5.4 seconds on the clock.
Let's see, Western Kentucky have any timeouts? Nope, neither team has timeouts left.
Bacho takes 2 dribbles, fires for the lead, and makes. WKU has to go the length of the floor in 5.4 seconds. Jackson to inbound. Bayless gets it. Sprints to half court, crosses through 2 defenders, steps through the lane. He scored!
Extra step somewhere in there. A lot of space. Referees are already over at the monitor.
They're going to check the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that they can call a whistle or call any kind of violation. It was on the shot attempt, but the light did not go off by the time it came out of Bayless's hands.
But who else was it going to be?
Well, and he can advance the ball very quickly off the dribble. So
split the double team.
1, 2.
Had the gather, and it depends on the definition. And this is one thing that gets talked a lot about in basketball. Is how you define the gather.
Yeah. Extended Euro step, maybe?
Bayless, he doesn't care what you want to call it.
No.
2 points. Right now we're showing 0.4 of a second on this clock. So the one thing here for Louisiana Tech, if nothing else, you can catch and heave, and because of the review, you are getting a free timeout when you would not have had it otherwise to piece together some semblance of a plan here.
And it seems like that's generally what happens in these situations with the referees trying to get it right. You know, going to the monitor, making sure that the time is correct. They did confirm 0.4 seconds left on the clock.
0.4 of a second up there. To inbound will be Bates. Abram, Cooper, Bacho, and Crawford on the floor. Cooper is underneath the Louisiana Tech basket. If you're WKU, though,
nobody on the ball. Jackson's just kind of passive up here.
He's
but I don't
pushing the crowd off.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to come up at the last second when the referee hands him the ball and tries to defend.
You cannot get too aggressive and gift a foul. Bates will inbound. Jackson was making sure the fans stay off the floor. Bates throws a Hail Mary. Jump ball. The buzzer sounds early.
No, I mean,
or was it deflected?
No, I think they're going to go back. And,
it was tipped. The officials say
yes.
The inbounds pass was deflected, and that is your ball game.
Well, and Jackson did come running up to the baseline once when the Louisiana Tech player got the ball, and he jumped as high as he could there at the end.
They're going to review it to make sure. Bear with us. We're going to figure out who's going to win this game, I promise. We're going to see if Jackson got a handout. Like you said at first, he wasn't up there. Then he goes up to push the crowd off the floor, and then he got up there jumping up, trying to tip that ball.
And obviously, it was the referee that was on the baseline there. See how high up Jackson extends his arms up?
It's going to be hard to tell.
Oh, it does look like he might have tipped it.
He was certainly in the area for it. It's not like a football where you see the clear change in the rotation. if you get a fingertip on it.
But the thing that was strange about the Western Kentucky time clock keeper, there's no way he could have known that that ball was tipped. By the time that the ball got in play, the clock had already expired.
Yes.
So, you know, it was one of those that I was sitting there thinking that they ran the clock too quick.
Yes.
Because there's no way you could have seen that. So, interesting play all around.
64-63, we're still sitting on this, the second time that we've sat here with the clock expired, and these WKU fans all on their feet. They're waiting to erupt for this win because, my goodness, does WKU need it.
Yeah, after the performance on Thursday night against Sam Houston, I'm not going to take anything away from Sam Houston because they brought it,
yeah,
and Western did not. So I think the crowd is appreciative of Western Kentucky's effort. Here it is, ball was tipped, is what the referee just came out and said.
And the game is over.
Game's over.
We'll get the official word.
Ball was tipped on the inbound throw.
Yeah, tipped on the inbound throw. The
official
clock
lets us
started
know.
correctly, yes.
So after all of that, the dramatics, back and forth, this game, a beautiful basketball game where every time one team needed an answer, they got the answer. We called it a dogfight earlier. This descended into a boxing match, and it wasn't jab after jab. It was hook after hook after hook, and it's WKU, the last team standing, thanks to Braxton Bayless, the layup just before the horn, and a career-high 27 points.
Yeah, that's you know, as you say, the last 3 to 4 minutes of this ball game, extremely exciting because it went back and forth. Teams made plays, and that's what you want to see when it comes down the stretch like this. We saw Abrams do it for Western Kentucky, Bayless, for Louisiana Tech, Bayless for Western Kentucky, and obviously the big shot at the end.
And how about McHenry? We can't discuss this without the and one leaping putback there at the end of the game. Quiet game by his standards, just 14 points, but made a play when it mattered most.
Yeah, you know, he only had 5 points in the second half, but no bigger than all 5 of those that he had because they were at crucial times.
WKU ends up shooting 46% from the floor. I said that's the magic number for them this season. Now 13-2 overall in the year when they get over 40%.
Well, and in the last 4 games that they've had, their 4 losses, they've only shot 40% from the field.
Yes.
So, you know, that's been something that they've struggled with of late.
Fantastic game for Abram on the other side for Louisiana Tech with 21 points, 14 for Bates. Boncho does get into double figures with 10, but that's the last thing to talk about here. What a job the Tops do defensively against Boncho.
Yeah, the defensive effort is what changed the tide for Western Kentucky's performance tonight.
WKU moves to 15-12 overall in the season, 6-8 in Conference USA. Louisiana Tech falls to 18-10, 7-8 in the league. For my partner, Craig McCormick, our entire ESPN Plus crew, I'm Tyler Eaton. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Conference USA Basketball.